Okay, so the year is 2026, and right now a massive geopolitical chess game is playing out in real time, all centered on the future of global energy. Now, this isn't some far-off theory. This is the reality of the last 15 days, and let me tell you, the board is on fire.
If I don't export, nobody exports. This one sentence right here is the absolute core of Iran's entire doctrine. It's a promise of mutual destruction, and they've just put it into action. This is the kind of move a player makes when they know they can't win by the normal rules, so they decide to just flip the entire board. So, here's how we're going to break down this global drama. We'll start with the violent reset that's happening, then we'll get into Iran's scorched earth strategy. After that, we'll look at America's countermove, this controversial dismemberment plan, and finally, we'll touch on all the unintended consequences for, well, everyone. So let's set the stage. It's late March 2026. We're looking at a super tense standoff over who controls the world's energy supply. And you need to understand, the time for just making threats, that's over.
What we're in right now is what's known as a zero-sum game. There's no negotiation here, no room for compromise. For one side to win, the other has to lose. Completely. This is a winner-take-all fight for total economic and geopolitical dominance.
And that brings us to Iran's playbook. Look, they know they can't win a conventional war against the US and its allies. It's just not going to happen. So they've gone and activated this scorched earth plan, a strategy designed for mutual economic ruin.
And they moved incredibly fast. On March 18th, Iranian missiles slammed into Ras Laffan in Qatar and key refineries in the UAE. This wasn't some warning shot, this was a flat-out declaration of war. Right after that, they mined and blockaded the Strait of Hormuz, basically the jugular vein of the entire global oil trade.
The immediate impact is, well, it's staggering. By shutting down that strait, Iran has effectively taken 1/5, 20% of the world's daily oil supply completely off the market. It's like they've just locked it away. And the consequence? You guessed it. In just a matter of weeks, oil prices have blasted past $110 a barrel. And that's not just a number on a screen. It's the beginning of a massive global inflation shockwave.
So, what's the United States doing about all this? Well, for the Trump administration, this crisis isn't just a threat. It's a strategic opportunity, a chance to build a whole new energy order and lock in American economic dominance for the rest of the 21st century.
The end game here is incredibly ambitious. They want to consolidate a new Western energy monopoly and basically cripple the rival BRICS bloc. This means neutralizing Iran, getting control of Venezuelan oil, and also controlling Greenland's rare earth minerals, which they see as America's life insurance policy.
And right here, you can see the two philosophies in perfect contrast. You've got Iran's desperate burn-it-all-down strategy versus a cold, calculated American doctrine for 2026. Take the oil and leave. Forget about nation building. This is all about acquiring resources.
Which brings us to the specific U.S. tactic. And it's a really controversial one. It's not about regime change. It's about dismemberment. The goal isn't to just replace the leader in Tehran. It's to literally break the country of Iran itself into pieces.
Now, the logic for this really comes from past failures. I mean, the absolute disaster that followed the 2003 Iraq invasion taught a very, very harsh lesson. So the new strategy is all about controlled chaos, avoiding the massive cost and commitment of a full occupation.
It's a three-step plan. Step 1, activate ethnic minority factions inside Iran. Step 2, use the chaos that creates to economically isolate the central government in Tehran. And Step 3, establish a U.S. protectorate over Karg Island to control the oil flow directly.
The technical term for this strategy is balkanization. The endgame is the permanent breakup of Iran as a unified country, making sure it can never again challenge U.S. interests in that part of the world.
But, you know, a plan this audacious comes with enormous risks. So let's take a look at the unintended consequences that are already starting to pop up.
The ripple effects are immediate, and they're spreading fast. That soaring inflation is forcing countries to pick a side just to get access to energy. The Houthis in Yemen, they're still a terrifying wildcard who could shut down the Red Sea at any moment. And here's the twist. America's own allies in the region are actually pushing back.
Just look at Saudi Arabia's position. Yeah, they're bitter rivals of the Iranian regime, but they are terrified of having a failed state right on their doorstep. See, for them, a weak but whole Iran is a problem they know how to manage. A chaotic, fragmented Iran filled with armed militias, that's an unpredictable nightmare.
And this really shows you the cold, hard objective behind this whole thing. Let's be perfectly clear here. This has nothing to do with promoting democracy. This is a pure economic and geostrategic play to take Iran off the board as a regional power for the next half-century.
And the cost of playing this game could be staggering for the rest of the world. If this conflict keeps escalating like some are projecting, oil prices won't just stay high. They could rocket towards $150 a barrel. And that would almost certainly trigger a severe global recession.
Which brings us to our final and maybe most critical question. As this crisis pushes the world's economy to the brink, what happens to China? As the biggest oil importer on the planet, Beijing is arguably the biggest victim of this Hormuz shutdown. So how does all this pressure affect its own internal stability, and what's going to be its next move in this incredibly dangerous global chess match?